Japan is a popular place to have your campaign in EU4. It opens with a big civil war called the Sengoku Jidai, giving you an early push to unification, while also providing a decent chunk of unique content through their mission tree. You have several cool achievements to pick up, as well as a plethora of options for your game. You can make a land army Japan that conquers into Asia, a colonial Japan that goes for the New World or even Indonesia, if not both, or just a total Japan that just devs the Japanese mainland to absurd amounts. With that said, the opening Sengoku Jidai period includes a lot of small countries that frequently get overlooked. So today I want to highlight 3 of them that include either unique modifiers or interesting campaigns, mostly from a, this could be cool approach, and less the try-hard build. Since if you're looking for something specifically strong, just start as Ashikaga and keep all your subjects loyal to have your own HRE at home from 1444. Regardless of that though, before we jump to the game itself, let's get the usual things out of the way. A like on the video would be appreciated, and a subscription would be amazing. 40k subs was achieved, so I guess let's get 41k done real quick. With that said, let's pop onto the game and let's quickly go over the conventional choices. So here we are in the vague Japan area, for lack of a better word, and when it comes to playing a campaign in Japan, I tend to see usually the country choices dominated by 3 options. For a conventional unified Japan build, Hosokawa is a very solid choice, especially now that the Japanese ideas themselves, well, they used to be quite bad, but following the small DLC update, yeah, they're now quite good as well. So the actual minor nation ideas don't matter as much, because when you form Japan, you get access to Japan ideas, and those are just good. So Hosokawa may not have anything special in the open, but what it does have is an extra quad province, as well as 4 extra provinces for it to start, compared to most other nations having 1 or 2. The land it does have, compared to, say, Yamana, which has only got 29 dev, is quite good, with 41 development. This is basically the big boy Japanese person that starts in the objectively stronger position, simply because of their starting land. As such, they make a very popular choice for a Japan unification game. But again, if you're just looking for a I want to win the game now, of course, just starting as Ashikaga and having everyone as a subject is a very strong and powerful build, and can certainly be incredibly powerful if you play it right. Finally, I see a couple Oda campaigns. On top of Oda just being a popular choice for unification, they have a relatively unique build with access to both Leader Siege, Leader Shock, and Land Leader Fire Pips, so even if you do form Japan and just stick with Oda ideas, you get really nice generals. Also, opening with 10 morale of armies and 10 ICA is very nice. But those are the 3 conventional choices. What are we here for some of the more unique campaigns? Starting with arguably the least interesting and the most swept under the rug, we of course have Ando. Now Ando is up here in the north, they're separated by Nanbu existing, and certainly one of their starting rivals, so your early game options are very obvious. Conquer Nanbu, and then go conquer Japan. But where Ando is weird and unique is they have access to, I won't even call it good, but a genuinely very unique opening idea set. Namely, their transport ships are 20% cheaper. Is this good? No, it's not. I don't think minus 20% transport cost is valid, but hey, I have to at least kind of mention it because it's a relatively unique thing to have. Also, they have minus 15% shock damage received, which is quite good, and frankly is a pretty strong modifier in the early game if you're able to pick up 3 ideas early on before unification, as well as of course having access to conventional global settler increase on the finishers for a colonial game, and more interestingly, and this is a more other unique thing, they do have minus 15% culture conversion cost as well. This means that, ironically enough, Ando makes a relatively weirdly unique all-over-the-shop kind of Japan build. Of course, the global settlers you can get from the normal Japanese idea, so those aren't unique, but transport cost is certainly worth a mention, and I do believe it is one of the few, if not the only Japanese daimyos that has a culture conversion cost. So if you're going for a Japanese 1 culture, Ando would be the way to do it. But with Ando mentioned, we move on to Takeda. On top of being a very pretty orange colour, a bit hard to see here, they also do start with Mount Fuji. Not the greatest buffs, but hey, it's just neat. They have a quite nice map colour. I do like this orange. It's a bit of a Dutch orange, but I don't know. I think it works quite well in this area of the map. But outside of map colour, Takeda is also the funny cavalry Japanese samurais. So Takeda having access to both cavalry cost and cavalry combat ability in their opening ideas means that if you want to do a cavalry Japan, you can. It's a bit of a weird build and certainly not the strongest cavalry build. There are many other better, stronger cavalry builds, but a cavalry Japan is a very unique thing that basically no one ever plays. Is it strong? Absolutely not, but it can be a very unique campaign, and certainly an excellent way to pick up the achievements of Japan if you haven't done that already, while also having a bit of an unusual campaign. The start isn't very easy, you don't have the obvious enemies, and most people around you aren't trivial to conquer. I mean, you do end up bordering Ashikaga day 1, but hey, Imigawa's fightable, Ogasawara is fightable, and from then on you can do your best. The rest of their ideas are decent. You also pick up another leader without upkeep, which is a bit whatever, but the elite army professionalism is at least somewhat nice too. The institution spread 10% though really shows its age. But yeah, Samurai Cavalry. If you want to do that, Takeda is the way forward. But not much more to say here. I'm going to move on to the third and final option, one you might have actually heard about. But out of every Pirate Republic out there, I believe Pirate Republic So is probably the most underrated. Frequently, when you see people play Pirate Republics, you either see them played with someone like Gotland, where you basically play a European Pirate Republic raiding the Baltic coast, and that's absolutely fine. As are Pirate Republics in the Caribbean. Very LARPy, very piratey, love to see it. However, So as a Pirate Republic is uniquely positioned in the sense that it is next to people that are incredibly rich when it comes to being pirated. Korea is very, very, shall we say, piratable, with a lot of their coastline being very highly dev'd, and then after Korea, you're right next to China. Beautiful, beautiful, high development coastline, all for you to, shall we say, borrow money from. This is backed up with a very, very nice and powerful naval idea group set. Back in the day, So had actually one of the best, specifically naval ideas in the entire game. Of course, again, power creep happened, so other countries are now on top, but even with that said, 20% morale of navies, a yearly navy tradition, 10 galley combat ability and a naval tradition decay, as well as plus 25% naval force limit and minus 5% sailor maintenance, to all finish off with 20% privateer efficiency. Yeah, this is a very, very nice naval build. The sailor maintenance is especially nice if you have a lot of ships out and about, because it means that they use up 5% less sailors on recovery, and this goes a long way. The double combination of Yearly Naval Tradition as well as Yearly Naval Tradition Decay is also really strong, as this means that if you go down Naval Ideas and pick up the Yearly Naval Tradition from Naval Ideas here and combine that with Maritime, which also has other nice naval buffs, you can basically set at 100% Naval Tradition relatively easily. Another thing with So as well is that while your early game can get you, shall we say, very rich from raiding the coasts of Korea and China, you're going to struggle to do a naval landing and actually invade into Japan, but I strongly recommend you do. After all, as a Pirate Republic, you're still going to have the governing capacity and capacity to, well, run Japan. And when you do, it's just one big massive island, like an England Pirate Republic, where you pretty much run the entire island of Japan and have that as your naval base. You'll be impregnable on the home islands, as it were, with your naval maritime So build, in terms of your ideas, and Japan itself also has nice naval modifiers if you choose to go down them within their missions. I think it's a very underrated version of Japan. A lot of the time you have this land and colonial powers, but just doing a naval Pirate Republic Japan that does Navy really good is also an interesting campaign that should be played at least once in my opinion. But that concludes my top 3 more unconventional Japan highlights. Whether you're doing a cavalry build, a funny naval build, or want to do a weird Japanese one culture, those are my recommendations. But unfortunately, that is all I have time for today. Thank you very much for watching, with a special thank you to my channel members, especially Ark, Soda, Slemon, W Haste, Sebastian Haller, Shandok 2.0, Nick Huss, Dark Fortuna, Big Salad, Leb Josh, Gay Fug, Flocko Knos, Golden Arrows, Nanhatan, The Awesome Rabbit, Best Pro Gaming, and Grand Admiral Flavia.